On the morning of December 27, 1942, at Port Moresby, New Guinea, the tropical sun rose over Loki Airfield, casting long, golden shafts of light across the steel matting and highlighting the silhouettes of 12 Lockheed P-38F Lightnings of the 39th Fighter Squadron, 35th Fighter Group, as ground crews meticulously removed camouflage netting and completed last-minute checks on fuel, armaments, and instruments. The air was thick with humidity, the scent of gasoline, and the faint tang of sweat as men moved with quiet purpose, aware that the day could bring fire from the sky. Intelligence from coast watchers had warned of an impending Japanese air raid over Buna, with multiple formations estimated at 40 aircraft, all protected by skilled fighter escorts. Captain Thomas Lynch, experienced and steady, checked his instruments, signaling his pilots into formation, including Second Lieutenant Richard Bong, a farm boy from Poplar, Wisconsin, temporarily attached from the 49th Fighter Group's 9th Squadron, still awaiting delivery of his own P-38s. None of them yet realized that this mission would mark the beginning of a profound shift in Pacific air combat, a confrontation that would challenge long-held assumptions about fighter superiority and rewrite the rules of engagement. For the Japanese pilots approaching Buna, accustomed to near-total dominance in the air for over a year, the sight of the strange twin-boomed Lightnings was perplexing. Intelligence reports had captured only fleeting glimpses of the aircraft, leaving uncertainty about their speed, armament, and tactical purpose. The Mitsubishi A6M0, with its legendary maneuverability, tight turn radius of 950 feet, climbed to 6,000 feet in just over 7 minutes, and maximum speed of 331 miles per hour, had been the nightmare of American pilots flying P-39 Airacobras and P-40 Warhawks, whose inferior speed and climb rate made them predictable targets in dogfights. The P-38, however, represented a revolutionary concept. Concentrated firepower in the nose with a 20mm Hispano cannon and .50 caliber Browning machine guns firing straight ahead, twin Allison V1710 engines, each producing 1,150 horsepower with turbo superchargers maintaining performance at extreme altitudes, a maximum speed of 414 miles per hour, and a service ceiling of 44,000 feet. Lieutenant Bong, who had studied these specifications during training at Hamilton Field, understood that victory would not come from engaging Zeros in turning fights but through discipline, patience, and vertical maneuvers, striking from above, diving through enemy formations at blistering speeds, then climbing back to altitude, always exploiting the P-38's ability to choose when and where to fight. As the Japanese formation approached, a mix of Zeros, Nakajima Ki, 43 Oscars, and Aichi D-3A Vals, veteran pilots who had swept from Pearl Harbor to the Dutch East Indies with terrifying efficiency, relied on standard escort and attack patterns, confident in their maneuvering superiority and the predictability of American tactics. But as Captain Lynch led his flight into a steep dive exceeding 400 miles per hour, the morning calm erupted into chaos. The P-38's concentrated firepower allowed attacks from ranges exceeding 400 yards, far beyond the effective range of the Zero's light weapons. Lynch's guns disintegrated an Oscar in the first pass, while Bong executed a precise deflection shot, sending his first enemy fighter spiraling into the jungle in flames. The Japanese formation attempted to respond, but the structural limits of their aircraft made following a 400+ mile-per-hour dive impossible. Bong, pulling out just above the canopy, immediately identified a Val dive bomber recovering from its attack run and, with another calculated burst from 100 yards, destroyed it in a fiery crash, marking his first 2 confirmed victories and the beginning of a career that would ultimately make him America's highest-scoring ace. In less than 10 minutes, the 39th Squadron claimed 12 Japanese aircraft, including kills by Lynch, Bong, and Second Lieutenant Carl Planck, with no P-38 losses, leaving Japanese pilots stunned and confused by an enemy who could strike from impossible altitudes and vanish before they could respond. This engagement foreshadowed a fundamental transformation in Pacific air combat, the shift from horizontal dogfighting to vertical engagements where speed, altitude, and disciplined tactics determined survival. Over the following months, the P-38's capabilities became increasingly decisive. Its turbocharged engines allowed sustained power at altitudes where traditional Zeros struggled to breathe, and its superior speed and dive characteristics made it nearly untouchable in offensive maneuvers. Pilots like Bong, Lynch, and later Thomas Maguire refined these tactics, developing the high-speed yo-yo, barrel roll attacks, and vertical reversals to maintain offensive positions while preserving momentum, trapping enemy fighters in a relentless cycle they could neither predict nor counter. The aircraft's long operational range, exceeding 1,000 miles with drop tanks, enabled complete escort of Allied bombers, opening offensive opportunities across Japanese-held territory and culminating in missions like the precise April 18, 1943, intercept of Admiral Yamamoto, executed by Major John Mitchell and 16 P-38s, where navigation, timing, and tactical execution resulted in the destruction of Japan's top naval strategist, striking both a tactical and psychological blow. Japanese responses, including the introduction of advanced fighters such as the Kawasaki Ki-84 Frank and Mitsubishi J-2M Raiden, proved largely ineffective, unable to match the P-38's combination of climb, speed, and firepower, while American industrial capacity and training produced new pilots equipped and ready to exploit these advantages, creating an enduring imbalance. By late 1944, Japanese daylight operations over contested areas ceased, supply convoys shifted to nocturnal runs, and veteran air units suffered catastrophic attrition, while American P-38 squadrons expanded in number and effectiveness, with coordinated vertical tactics, disciplined altitude management, and precision gunnery. Pilots like Bong, with 40 confirmed victories, and Maguire, with 38, demonstrated systematic mastery of these methods, creating an air war dominated by technological superiority, tactics, and training rather than numbers alone. Beyond statistics, the psychological impact on both sides was profound. Japanese pilots flew in fear of an enemy they could neither reach nor outmaneuver, while American pilots flew with confidence, exploiting altitude and velocity to control engagements and minimize risk. The P-38's legacy extended beyond the war, influencing post-war fighter design, doctrine, and the emphasis on vertical maneuvering, speed, and concentrated firepower. From the early battles over Buna to strategic bombing campaigns, long-range intercepts, and decisive engagements across New Guinea, the Solomons, and the Philippines, the P-38 Lightning transformed the nature of aerial combat, establishing American air supremacy, systematically dismantling Japanese naval aviation, and proving that technological innovation, disciplined training, and industrial capacity could overcome numerical and experiential disadvantages. By war's end, the skies that had belonged to the Zero were irrevocably controlled by the Lightning. The twin-boomed fighter that Japanese pilots initially dismissed had rewritten the rules of aerial warfare, creating a model of integrated technology, tactics, and training that continues to influence military aviation to this day. In every Pacific island where these battles were fought, from New Guinea to the Philippines, the legacy of the P-38 endures, etched into wreckage in jungles and lagoons, preserved in museums, and carried in the stories of the pilots who flew it, proving that the integration of innovation, skill, and strategy can decisively shape the course of history.